Honors 8th grade math, welcome back. I've had an overwhelming response to go faster, so here we go. In Chapter 5, Section 7, we're going to learn about something called the point-slope form. Now, you should be pretty familiar with the slope-intercept form. Which is y equals mx plus b. And that's also called the y-intercept form. And the other form for linear equations is called standard form. And that is in the form ax plus b, y equals c. So if you have an equation like 5x plus 3y equals 8, you would not know what the slope is unless you put it in y equals mx plus b. And you can do that because we can solve for y. So you would subtract 5x from both sides. Go ahead and keep the negative 5x in the front, so it's most like mx plus b. And then you would divide everything by 3 to solve for y. So negative 5/3 x plus 8/3. And you could leave it just like that because a fraction is easier to graph the slope with than a decimal. Okay, so point slope form is a little different. I guess I'll just keep going down. And basically, you need a point and a slope. And all of these three forms, if you solve them for y, they'll all give you the exact same thing. So, for example, 5 times x minus 4 equals y minus 6. So point slope form is m times x minus x sub 1 equals y minus y sub 1. This is your slope, and this and this are your ordered pair for any point. It doesn't have to be the first point. It can be any point at all. That's a sub 1. So it could be x sub 20, y sub 20. As long as the x and the y go together, that is the point for point slope. So I'm going to give you a couple of problems. You have a slope of 2. That's in m equals 2. And the point is negative 3 comma 4. So you would think about m times x minus x1 equals y minus y1. So your slope is 2. This is your x1. This is your y1. So you would have x minus negative 3. I'm just going to put a plus 3 and then y minus 4. So that's point slope form. Now we can convert this to the y equals mx plus b form by distributing the 2 and then adding the 4. So 2x plus 10 would equal y. You could write that as y equals 2x plus 10. And that would make sense because if negative 3 gave you 4, if you were looking at a table and you had a slope of 2, then negative 2 would give you 6, negative 1 would give you 8, and 0 would give you 10, and that's your b. So you see how these are interchangeable? This is the exact same thing as this. But if it doesn't matter what form you write an equation in and you have a point and a slope, it's actually easiest to write it in point-slope form. So let's say your slope is negative 1/3, and your point is 2, negative 1. Go ahead and hit pause and see if you can write the equation for that. So you would have negative 1/3 times x minus 2 equals y plus 1, because minus a negative is plus a positive. Now, go ahead and see if you can put that in y equals mx plus b. So when you're simplifying this, instead of 1, you should write this as 3/3. So So negative 1/3 x plus, if you subtract 3/3, you would get a negative 1/3 equals y. So if 2 gives you negative 1 and you need to find your 0, and as you go up you are losing 1/3, this would be negative 2/3 and this would be negative 1/3. So yes, that does make perfect sense. So try this one. The point 4, 0 with a slope of 3. And this time you don't really need to put y minus 0 because it doesn't matter. All right, now I'm going to give you 2 points, and you would need to find slope. This should be a negative 4. And then you're going to plug both points in. And see if they both give you the same equation. So go ahead and find slope and write the point slope form. You can hit pause and play when you're done. So you would have gotten negative 6 over negative 2. So your slope is 3. And then your point slope form is 3 times, I'll do the 1, negative 4. X minus 1 equals y plus 4. The other one you could have done is the second one. Okay, go ahead and take each of those and put them in y equals mx plus b form. Hopefully you're noticing that you get the exact same equation, y equals 3x minus 7. So this equation is the exact same as this equation, which is the exact same as this equation. All the same exact equation. So I'm going to give you 2 points and go ahead and write point slope form. So 4, negative 7, and 0, 5. So it's definitely going to be easier to pick the 0 point because that means this is your b. So from your previous equation writing, hopefully you're realizing it should be negative 3x plus 5. And if you did the newest one, m times x minus zero equals y minus 5. So that would give you negative 3x, add 5.